Hey everybody, Thacia here with Legacy of Light in conjunction with One Love Wellness Center here in Menasha, Wisconsin. I'm coming to you for one of my 365 days from my heart to yours, and I'm currently waiting to pick up my nephew as my sister has broken her ankle. So we're all kind of just helping out, and this is the time that I have. So just wanted to talk today about the effects of healing when you receive healings, things that can come up that maybe like you haven't been told before. And something that happened to me just recently. We went to a channeling, and it was a really beautiful experience. And then we got a word afterward, for each of us, but the whole channeling experience was a healing. And also Hilarion came and was doing, some healing during the channeling for all of us. And it was just a purely magical experience. And I didn't realize that, afterwards, when so much light is going into you, that, it's this things come up. The darkness needs to leave in some way. And I had no idea, and so that night was kind of frustrating for me. And also, I'd been working on my issues with eating, issues with eating for emotional reasons, and also my body does not want me to eat gluten and dairy, and over the past couple years, I continue to do it, and, there's adverse effects, many of which include, allergy symptoms, rashes, whatever. Like, my throat doesn't feel good. It takes days for it to get out of my body. It's just not a good situation. So after that night, I had to go to work, and I had brought some stuff to eat, like some nuts and whatever, but I didn't really have time to put together, a meal. So at work, what they had was this cheesy pasta bake and breadsticks available. So it was just this frustration that came over me, and I now know that it was, this stuff coming up, but I ended up eating gluten and dairy, and then being frustrated and angry with myself. And, as I've spoke before about anger being, just covering up the true emotions underneath, but it's also, in a book I started reading, a stage of emotional eating. Anger and frustration are both separate ones. So this was coming up for me as it was coming out. So as we're putting light in, as we're being healed, these things come up, issues that we're dealing with, so that we can feel and go through the motions, not so that we can live in the motions, but we have to go through these emotions and to recognize the emotions or frustrations or whatever we're dealing with, because it doesn't have a place anymore. And the light that we're putting in is kind of like kicking it out of the house, but we have to say our goodbyes to it basically before it leaves. And I had other experiences like this, with after healings, and had never known that this was going on. And it was such a relief to me to be like, oh, okay, that's what it was. And to not be angry with myself, because why was I still in this situation after, all this work I'd done, or this beautiful healing thing. And it's just gonna come up so that it can be let go. And, like I've spoke before, so it can be let go, and we can integrate that into our bodies. We can integrate the darkness with the light, and just appreciate it for what it's been and just let it go, because we are these beautiful beings of light, and we come here to learn and to create and to be these beings, and in this process there are things that we have to shed and that we can let go and we can love and we can appreciate, and we can see, how in the past our ego has thought that it was helping us out. For me, it's this whole issue of food. And, I've been working lately. I worked with a healer from One Love, Alex, and did some hypnosis with him, dealing with this emotional eating. And it's something, that I didn't realize before that I was using, for all sorts of reasons emotionally, like anger, frustration, sadness, like anything, joy, you name it. It was like, oh, food, yes, food. And, over the past, year or so, it's came to light, but I've also just been, struggling with other issues, like heartburn, and just like not feeling, completely well when I feel like I've been eating healthy. I've tried all these other things, and, after the session with Alex, I just asked for my guides. I just want to eat intuitively for my body and what my body needs, and to figure out how that looks like. And so in that asking, I was at the thrift store the other day and I found this book, and it's similar to the diet that I was doing during the 30 days of listening to the hypnosis, which is, no carbs, no sugars, and it's just like cleansing your body. And of course, then the gluten and dairy the other day and whatever else is just, me, I think, finally letting go and coming to terms with that, and being okay, and not having this, frustration for myself, and still being in this situation and dealing with it. And so when we are going through these healings, and this, is a continual path, because I spoke with another person who went to this same event, and he does a lot of shaman work, and sometimes I look at him and I'm like, oh, he's just this amazing, amazing being, and there's no way he could have any issues. And he said he does after these channelings, because there's so much positivity, there's so much light going into you, that the darkness or whatever is hanging on has to leave. So it's a positive thing when we do receive healings, and then we do have, it could be a day, it could be 3 or 4 days, depending on how much healing you've had, that you can be going through these other emotions, such as this, self-loathing. Almost feels like, somebody else said they felt like they were having like a mental breakdown. Like, it was pretty intense, and just like, having these old patterns coming up, to release them, to send them back to Mother Earth, so that she can transmute them, that she can bring about the change, and that you can realize the change because you have felt these emotions, and you can love them, and you can let them go, and then integrate that into your being, into who you are as a creator, as a being of this awesome experience that we're having. Woo. So just know that if, depending on how intense the healing was for you, how intense what we will perceive as negative emotions may be for the next, one day to like a week, and it will come back and it will even out, and you will be healed, and those issues, won't plague you, so to speak, anymore, because you will have dealt with them. You will looked them in the eye and said, okay, I see you. I respect you. I thank you. I love you. I integrate you. And I let go of my attachment to you. And that's the whole thing about integrating, is that you're not, okay with the situation. You're just accepting what it was, and you're letting go of your attachment to these emotions. You're letting go of your attachment to the sadness. You're letting go of your attachment to the frustration, and you're seeing it for what it is and just being grateful for what it is. So I love you all, and just know that you are eternally adored. And there's all the ways to get a hold of me in the description of the video. And go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet, because we got 365 days of info. And, it's my journey, wisdom to share with you of things that have happened to me. And so I love you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.